Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Fire, fire. Let's remix that. Like a torta with some bad habits. Fire, fire. Let's go, right? Let's get to the old school intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all your support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Raiders lost again. Fuck, I hate Geno Smith. Anyways, I digress. Let's get to the content. The other day I did a video and it was inspired by a podcast called No Paperwork Podcast, which I watch from time to time because they be kicking some real game. It's a Northern California podcast, man, with dudes that sit around a table and discuss topics, right? Various topics. And sometimes it always leads back to the North and South issues, but that's to be expected when you have one group sitting around discussing the other group. There's going to be a little bit of a bias. What I like about that podcast is they're pretty unbiased. They're pretty straight up. Some of the things I don't agree with, of course, I'm sure they don't agree with anything I say, means that I'm not in the best of standings, but I'm going to stand where I stand. But they were talking about the Mount Rushmore of Norteño hip hop influences, producers, rappers, all that. And they were all over the place with it. There was some that mentioned Big Tone, which I believe Big Tone definitely an honorable mention. And then they had Darkroom Familia, and they had some other people. And then when it got to Gold Toes, there was a lot in the building. There was some hatred in the building for Gold Toes, even as much as to say that Gold Toes is not a rapper. Well, I'll tell you right now, Gold Toes could out-rap a lot of these youngsters nowadays on his worst day. So with that being said, I gave you guys my Mount Rushmore of Norteño rappers, the history of it, who I thought was the best at their time and who basically changed the game for the Norteños that were out there picking up microphones, right? You know, some guys lyrically are better than others. You know, if I got to say, hey, who's the best lyricist right now as a Norteño? Of course, I'm going to put people like GB and Bands up to anybody. And that's up for debate, right? Rico Too Smooth. You know, I didn't mention him in my last video and I should have, because he's definitely got a different flavor, different style. He's like old school, but new school with a twist. I just fuck with his music. And of course, man, you got Lil TYS, who's dope. And just all these different guys. Rest in peace to that guy, man, that youngster. There's a lot of honorable mentions. But my Mount Rushmore, I think, withstood the test, outshined and withstood the test of time because I had Gold Toes, Woody, Speedy Loke, and of course, the founder of Darkroom Familia, the proprietor of Darkroom, right? Sir Dino. And you guys already know, man, that was a hard one to debate. But I thought I'd double back because someone got at me and they're like, hey, what about the Homegirls? What about the Norteñas? Well, let me explain to you first and foremost. Let me give you a little knowledge you can't get in college and some clecha. There's no such thing as a Norteña. Never has been, never was. There's females that their loyalty is to the norte. They kick it with homeboys. They rock. They're from a certain barrio, a certain area, even a clica, right? But they are not considered Norteñas because that is a made-up word. That is Norteño with the A in the back of it, right? Straight up. That's just the way it is. Anytime in my neighborhood that homegirls used to say, hey, man, I'm a Norteña, we used to check them real quick, like, hey, ain't no such thing. That's actually a disrespectful and derogatory term when it comes to the Norteño movement. You know, that's calling them females or feminine. It just ain't happening. That doesn't mean there aren't homegirls that get Huelga birds on them and red rags, and they do all that, but they're just not labeled that. They're just considered homegirls from Northern California. So in the music industry, there's been different females that rap, sing, do all that represented for the Norte, right? Not necessarily Norteñas, but homegirls that represented, and their loyalty was to the homeboys. They were loyal to the soil to which they grew up. Antioch, San Jose, Santa Rosa, Merced, Modesto, Fresno, Tulare County, you know what I'm saying? The Bay Area, all that. Definitely loyal to the soil, right? And I can tell you guys right now, I have a Mount Rushmore of these women. And I want to see if you guys agree. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background onto why I chose these 4 women. I chose them because they made a difference. They were doing things, some of them, that other females, even females from Southern California, weren't doing at the time. They were definitely shining. Okay, not to say that girls from the South Side ain't rocking, because they're definitely fine and rocking, right? But when I was functioning, when I was doing my thing, these were the homegirls that were outshining the most, and were definitely, even after my time, I gotta give them their props, man. They were just doing their thing. That's just facts, you know. These are the females of Northern California that definitely can't be denied. They changed the game. In fact, some of them were even more popular and still are more popular than a lot of the Norteño rappers that are around today. And these guys can't even fight the feeling, like a Too Short song, and say that they definitely were not influenced by, if not the rap style, the hustle, they were definitely influenced by the swag and the style of these women, and definitely the grind, because these women were grinding without a lot of benefits. They weren't getting the love. And, you know, females in the industry, it's going to be like that. Everyone's focused on the dude, who's the better rapper. But these females, without them, some of the songs that they made would not be classics, right? So the first female that I wanted to put on this list is Gata Mas from Santa Rosa. Like, she's always been a homegirl. What is considered a homegirl? The big huelga bird on her neck stands out amongst everybody, right? She's never switched up. Her style has always been old school, lowrider, Chicana, más firme, right? I always thought her rap style was a little different. She was a little offbeat to me. But as I sat down and I really started to listen to her and her influence of music, she kept that old school stilo rocking and going. She's still performing, pulling up to lowrider shows, doing her thing, even more so now than she was back in the days. She never got the attention and what she deserved. She never got the representation of what she deserved. But she would always pop up in various Norteño videos and doing her thing. Now, her style, some people consider like a LA style, Southern California. But I'm here to tell everyone, man, don't get it twisted. The Central Valley and the Bay Area always had two different swags, right? In the Central Valley, you're going to see more of the khakis, the Ben Davises, the Cortezes. You know what I'm saying? That style that you would basically say comes from Southern California. I don't know how it landed and stuck in the Central Valley. That is just the stilo of the Norteño movement there. You go more into the Bay Area, you're going to see a little bit more swag, a little bit more hoodies, gold in the mouth, braids. You know what I'm saying? The influence of the urban community of the brothers, man, is definitely there, and it's well respected. Then you got hybrid Norteños that were like myself, a little bit of both. You can catch me in some Cortezes with some motherfucking some 501s on, a white tee, and a motherfucking some gold in my mouth, right? It didn't matter how you dressed or what color you rocked. You know, how it was, how you represented and what you represented and what you let be known. Gata Mas has always let it be known that she stands with the Norteño movement, that she's always been considered a rapper from Northern California, and her tattoos, her mannerisms, her loyalty to the cause is displayed. She definitely needs to be mentioned on the Mount Rushmore because she was doing it back then when no other females were really rocking like that, and she continues to do it now. And to be totally honest with you, I could sit here and hate on her and talk shit, saying she's not the best rapper of all time and she's not that good. But the fact is, she started fucking with the homeboys and she still is. And I'm not, so she outlasted me. You know what I mean? You got to give her respect. But Gata Mas definitely from Santa Rosa needs to be mentioned on the Mount Rushmore of these hip-hop females and these R&B females from Northern California. The next one on the lista is a young girl up out of motherfucking Modesto, the West, right? Modesto, California. It's like a second home to me, man. I always loved Modesto. My father was from Modesto. He represented Modesto. My brother reps Modesto. I got family, giving family piggyback rides in Modesto. I got tortas, making tortas in Modesto. You know, Modesto's just been, it's all 209, it's all love. And I ran around them streets for a long time, all the way from 9th Street to J Street to It didn't matter, man. I was on Briggsmore. I was on motherfucking McHenry. I was running around. I was running around there fucking few months back. Anyways, Miss Tweety Bird, right? Now, it's official, like a referee's whistle. She is one of the most dominant, hardest on the mic, lyricist females in Northern California, period. There's no denying it. In fact, when Tweety Bird left for a while, she took a while off, man. I'm going to explain to you. She had a cousin who used to rap alongside of her, who used to be in every rap video, who was dope in his own right, and he passed away. And it seemed like that coincided with Tweety Bird kind of stepping away from the movement, stepping away from the scene, the rap scene for a while. And the scene was dry, especially in the Modesto area. There was other rappers. There's always been other rappers, but they ain't doing it like Tweety Bird. Not only she's the tightest northern female in Modesto, she's the tightest in Modesto, period. Coming from Northern California. That could be debated and denied, but I'll say that's coming from me. This is how I feel. I think her influence, how she was able to bring in other artists to captivate everyone in the Central Valley with her flow. She definitely is on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, she's younger than all the rest of these females that I'm going to talk about, but there's no denying, man, Tweety Bird is top notch, man. I'll put her up against anyone, Northern and Southern California females. She's eating shit up. She's just that good, right? Now, she, of course, rocks with the Norteño movement. You know, I'm not going to say what gang she's associated or affiliated with. I'm not going to go into her business like that. But musically, she's very musically inclined. She's got it, man. She's got all the potential to keep blowing up. I see that she's coming back out now, starting to hang around. I've seen her pop up in different music videos. She's well known for one of her most famous music videos, which was called Norte Stomp with Tito B. She had a verse in there. She tore it up. She killed everyone on the verse. She's just that good, right? So she's definitely on my Mount Rushmore. I'm going to say Tweety Bird. She influences a lot of the younger chicks that are now coming up in the game and hanging around with the Northern movement and doing all that. You know, they look to Tweety Bird as an inspiration. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say being gang related and that's inspiring or any of that counts or is a good thing, but good leaders make good decisions. And I can see when it comes to the females, she's definitely in a leadership role. She's inspiring to them, whether it's good or bad. You know, I'm just saying as far as hip hop, musically, Northern California, Tweety Bird, by far best Northern California woman rapper I've ever heard in my life. Facts. That's just it. So the next one that I want to put on is a chick that I've actually had interaction with back in the days. I actually got to party and kick it with the homeboys from her neighborhood, and she was there. She was younger back then. You know, I did a story a long time ago, man, which was a little controversial. I took it down out of respect for her life, for her family, for what she's got going on. But there's no denying, when you think of Woody, the rapper, you think of Megan. Okay, Megan from Antioch, probably one of the dopest R&B singers, soul singers out of that area. She's white, grew up with Mexicans her whole life. That doesn't mean nothing. White, black, brown, green doesn't mean nothing to me. It's all the same. We all bleed red, right? And I could tell you right now that during the time that Woody was blowing up on his albums, the Northern Exposure albums, you know, you're fucking with the play. I'm fucking with the play. Man, Megan was dope, right? Dope with a big old booty. Excuse me to her husband. That's just why you married her, bro. Keep it real. She was a beautiful woman that basically was part of the culture in Antioch at the time. Her music was known. You hear a Megan song? Okay, that's Megan. That's Woody. That's Big Tone. That's Shadow. You know what I'm saying? That's Lil D. That's Lil Los. That's all them. We're all good friends that grew up together, that were from the same area, that rocked. And Megan definitely was on everyone's playlist, right? She just, she personifies being self-confident. Confidence. That's what I always seen when I seen Megan. She never looked like she was trying to hide. You know, there's some females that try to hide their body or hide behind the camera. She was comfortable in her skin. She had a good body. She had a good voice. Her R&B was good. Now, she ain't going to fucking compete with Beyonce, but she was our brown Beyonce of Northern California, and that's just what it was. So, man, I give a lot of respect. She inspired a lot of young women to become good singers, to get practice at their craft. And as far as a homegirl, She's still rocking. She outlasted me, right? So she's another one that had never swayed from her beliefs, never swayed from her original homeboys. And just recently, man, they come out with new music like A-Wax and Big Tone and all these. And you always see Megan in the videos. You always see her at the barbecues kicking it. Like, she never forgot where she came from. She's never been disrespected. People have along the lines told stories, or, you know, most of it was out of wanting to be around her, wanting to be in Megan's life, because Megan was that damn good at singing and that damn good at looking good. She's a homegirl that's definitely well respected, right? So she's on my Mount Rushmore. So we got Tweety Bird from Modesto, Megan from Antioch, Gata Mas from Santa Rosa, and the next one, there's no denying it. If you deny it, I don't know where you've been. You ain't been in Northern California anytime. This female is the queen of Northern California hip hop, right? She's the queen. She's the Beyonce, the bees in the trap, bees in the trap, the Nicki Minaj, the everything to the Northern California rap game. A very big influence. In fact, before I even tell you, let me tell you a story. So my tío that passed away, rest in peace, right? My tío Joe, he married a chick like 10 years younger than him. And she thought she was a homegirl. She had red rags all over her room. And I was like, damn, right? At first I looked at her, I was like, she wasn't that pretty, but she wasn't that ugly. But I was like, she was cool for him. Like, he did that, right? And she always played this one that I'm gonna put on the Mount Rushmore. She was infatuated. She had posters, she had autographs, she had pictures with her. She went to every concert, every pull-up, every car show, every fucking remate where they fucking performed. If they performed at the fucking the casino, she was there. If they performed at Outback Steakhouse, she was there. If they performed in the Panda Express parking lot, she was there. And believe me, this female came up from the gutter. She came up from the grind. So when I sit here and I say, oh, people are performing at car washes and they're performing at Panda Express or in the Burger King parking lot, that's because that's real street shit. That's how motherfuckers hustle, selling tapes and CDs out the trunk of their car, hustling, putting on their music everywhere, letting it be known, handing out flyers. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, everyone got internet access, so it's kind of like, you know, you could just do it like that. But back then, you got to really get on your hustle, grind, E40 shit, pop the trunk, selling tapes out the trunk of the car when I'll be rapping. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You had to do all that. This female, along with all her homeboys from Antioch, right? And her old man at the time, Big Tone, who was definitely, they were like the king and queen. Like, when you seen one, you seen the other. And a lot of people kind of tied her in with him. And even when they split up, or that's their business, whatever happened, they went their separate ways in life, they still remain friends. They still, a lot of people still would not separate them in their mind. So anyways, this chick, my uncle's old lady, she was just infatuated. And one time I bullshitted her and I brought a homegirl that kind of looked like her, had her thinking it was her, man, for a minute. And then she was like, man, hold up, she's too thick. Because old girl that I'm gonna put on the Mount Rushmore had that thin, beautiful body. And that's the queen of Northern Cali hip hop, Deina. Look, if you're making a Mount Rushmore for the homegirls of Northern California, if Deina ain't number one on your list, you're fucking up. Straight up. I don't think she was as influential as any of these females. More so, look, I'm going to say it like this. When it comes to rap, she wasn't influential. She wasn't a rapper. She was a singer. She had way more grasp on all the females wanted to be Deina. Her looks, her class, her style. She was more influential. What I meant to say was she was good. None of these females be more influential than her. She definitely had every girl in the concert screaming and wanting to be Deina. Deina was a dope rapper. I mean, a dope R&B singer. She sang on some of the best hooks on some of the best Northern California albums. Big Tone. If it wasn't for Deina, I mean, he would have been known, but she definitely shed a big light on him, on Woody, on Northern Exposure, and all that, man. She's the queen. She's definitely the queen. Now, I haven't seen her do anything in recent years. I know that when she kind of stepped away from her relationship with Big Tone, she kind of just went and did her own thing, but she's still forever going to be the queen. No one could take her place. You know, there's places like Tupac, no one's going to take his place. There's people like Biggie ain't taking his place. With Deina, I don't care what female comes out from Northern California, she definitely ain't taking her place. So that's my Mount Rushmore of women. And of course, she was from the Antioch area. She functioned out of that area with, of course, you know, Woody and Tone and all them cats. And she was actually the girlfriend of Big Tone for years. And that's not, I don't say that she got put on the map because of Big Tone. I say he got put on the map because of her, because everybody wanted her. They were feeling her. But that's just my story, and I'll tell it, right? So My Mount Rushmore for Homegirls, let's see who can compete with it. It's Deina. It's Megan. It's Tweety Bird from Modesto. And it's Gata Mas from Santa Rosa. If anyone could beat that one, let me know. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. If you guys like this kind of content, let me know. I got some more for you. I got a whole lot of more for you. Bang, bang. Gun gang.